been a really sad week for us all, and I think we've all gathered together to celebrate her life here today as best we can. For her family back in Ireland, I'm sure some of you saw the funeral. It's been a tricky week. I thought a lot about how I'm going to do this, and I'm just going to keep it simple. One of the biggest things about Stacy was her laugh. Her laugh made other people laugh. Don't know if any of you heard about the Fuzzy Wuzzy story, which actually turns out to be our Wi-Fi password now. So I just want you all to know, right, she'd want you to celebrate her life today. Make sure you do, and big love to Stacy. I have no more words. Enjoy the day.
She had a spiritual name, Teja Premkar, which means princess of the radiance of divine love. As I was remembering her, tall and blonde, with frank and fearless blue eyes, proudly Irish and surely a citizen of the world. Spontaneous, enthusiastic. Maybe I'm not the only one. I'm walking down Haight Street and for a moment I think I see her. So I wanted to ask you if you would join me. We'll chant a call to express our solidarity beyond time, beyond space, beyond life, and beyond death.
We are here today not only to celebrate Stacy's life, but also to remember, as a community, the years she spent with us here in San Francisco. The whole problem with the world is that fools and fanatics are so certain of themselves, and wiser people so full of doubts. Stacy was certainly not the kind of person who would be left with doubts.
As we know all too well, Stacy's time on this earth was not long enough, but it could never be said that she didn't make the most of it. She flung herself into every experience and turned every experience into an adventure. Her willingness to say yes was unparalleled. As you say back in the British Isles, she loves to get stuck in. Alongside her openness, she was content to just be. To be measured, to be considered, to be content, to meditate, and to enjoy every moment to its fullest. Which is a quote from Lao Tzu, the founder of Taoism, and I thought this was emblematic of her nature. Nature does not hurry, yet everything is accomplished. Thank you.
He had a driving instructor who she just got along with, and she ended up going on these drives and improving her skills, but they would stop for coffee, and I was like, okay, this is odd. Like, okay, it just kind of. My car was named Blanche, and it's white, and so she'd come to the car and she'd be like, hello, Blanche, and like greet it like a horse, kind of, like she's getting in the horse. Her skills were casual, is how I describe them. So I remember like one time she was kind of going over on the side into a lane, and she didn't put her blinker on, and she's like, whoopsie. I said, okay, whoopsie, yeah.
I will share one of my favorite stories though. A couple years ago, as those of you who know me know, I love street festivals in San Francisco. My favorite is the How Weird Street Fair. And so, about 2 years ago, I think it was soon after Mike and Arlene had moved to San Francisco, I had convinced the two of them and Stacy to accompany me to the street fair. We went out. I don't think I've ever seen Mike wear leggings before or since, but let me tell you, he's got a real nice, and Stacy picked up a hula hoop and spun it, and it fell. She picked it up again, spun it, trying to gyrate her hips, and the thing just wouldn't stay up. So I think we must have spent, about half an hour there, Arlene? She finally got the damn thing to spin. And just the look of joy, the look of accomplishment on her face was just incredible. Especially with all those weird colors I'd painted on her face, it was a sight. as has been mentioned before, she was always about trying new things, always about saying yes, always about taking the next step and leading the charge, not following. And so, to you, Stacy, I say sláinte. The name of the first poem is Anam Cara, which is Gaelic for soul friend. Anam Cara, an elegy for Stacy. I learned of your death while celebrating life, which in hindsight seems fitting, since you were so adept at extracting existential lessons from mundane moments, always managing a fine balance of pensive and playful, unruffled by setbacks, but reflective on broader meanings. After I heard the news, the candles of my friend's birthday cake seemed to shine with added incandescence, as if they memorialized your brilliant essence, and their light was doused as abruptly as yours. The week your fever fully broke, the temperature spiked to a record high. In the south, the earth quaked with tremors. In the east, it shook with tempest, as if the world itself shared our seismic grief. And though the moon had so recently fully obscured the sun, its brief vanishing was no equal to the totality of your absence. For everyone who knew you was brightened by your vibrant spirit, the sunny Stacy disposition, a truly wondrous woman of boundless warmth, restless curiosity, and mischievous humor. I often joke that your name was larger than life, the alter ego to a blockbuster superheroine, but it perfectly suited who you were. Anastasia Power, a surname literally synonymous with energy, and a given name that in Greek means resurrection. Testament to how you can enliven any gray San Franciscan day with the vivacious force of your personality. As if springtime bloomed in the dancing light of your footsteps, and songbirds burst from the soft lilt of your Irish laughter. We met after I had endured half a decade of winter on the East Coast, and you were integral to my transition to the Bay. Though you hailed from a different hemisphere, you embodied California chill. And even though you were a trained practitioner of meditation, it seemed your preferred method of prayer was motion. Our first conversation happened on a dance floor, which isn't the typical setting for a discussion on love, relationships, and personal growth, but quintessential Stacy. You actively listened, occasionally interspersing your characteristic beams of insight, all while never losing the beat. Your hips swaying to a rhythm natural as the Golden Gate landscape, which you spent countless hours exploring. In the summer of 2016, we spent many a long afternoon walking the city, armed with a guidebook to San Francisco's trees. We used the local flora as a gateway to new neighborhoods, from the ficus and ironwood of the Mission to the acacia and sweet gums of Potrero Hill. Our tours were drawn out in the best way possible, for your childlike sense of wonder never flagged, and there was seldom a flower unworthy of your meticulous attention. In my mind's eye, I can recall with perfect clarity how you stopped by a tree in the Panhandle, plucking a stem from a pepperwood laurel, crushing the leaf in your hands, and inhaling its powerful cinnamon aroma. For you, all of life was a bounty of the senses, a party that deserved our utmost appreciation. When the Treasure Island Music Festival was besieged with wind and rain, you characterized it as an, quote, enjoyable and atmospheric shit show. I marveled at the fortune which seemed to follow you like a shadow, a hot streak of serendipity where you always seemed to find an open table, a hidden rave, a dirty joke, a magical street performance, a glass of wine, and a new friend. Through you, I learned that life is best enjoyed when you're fully attuned to the world around you. The Persian poet Hafez says that an awake heart is like a sky that pours light, and befriending you was like having that light filtered through illuminated glass, so that each moment blazed with kaleidoscopic color. Though you've been gone a week, your light shines in our hearts undiminished, and while we are united in our grief, the memory of your spirit is like a brilliant rainbow against the darkening sky. And though your presence is now elusive as the pot of gold at its end, our shared experiences knowing you has awarded us invaluable treasure. We are enriched with the animating stardust from the supernova of your life. Earth, receive a cherished guest. Stacy Power is laid to rest. May we register the voltage of your loss as a thunderbolt to live our lives awake. Stacy and I shared a love of poetry, and this next poem we discovered together was written by an Irish poet named John O'Donoghue. And we joked because if you hear him read it, it's incredibly beautiful, but she told me she had connotations because of his Irish accent, his really thick brogue. So now when I read it, I hear it in her voice. The name of the poem is Baineth, which is Gaelic for blessing. On the day when the weight deadens on your shoulders and you stumble, may the clay dance to balance you. And when your eyes freeze behind the gray window and the ghost of loss gets into you, may a flock of colors, indigo, red, green, and azure blue, come to awaken in you a meadow of delight. When the canvas frays in the currach of thought and a stain of ocean blackens beneath you, may there come across the waters a path of yellow moonlight to bring you safely home. May the nourishment of the earth be yours. May the clarity of light be yours. May the fluency of the ocean be yours. May the protection of the ancestors be yours. And so may a slow wind work these words of love around you, an invisible cloak to mind your life.
It feels like while there's so many words to describe Stacy, there just aren't quite enough to do her and her beautiful person any justice. And the three things that I really leaned upon to take away with from all of this and just how Stacy lived her life was, first of all, to be present. Stacy was present in every aspect of her life. And she had a way of when you were speaking to her, she made you feel like you were the only person in the room, the only person in the world. Your problem was her problem. She's a definition of an empath, and whatever you needed, she was your partner to get you through that. Second of all, being accountable. Stacy was always able to help you through whatever you needed. She was always accountable for her life and for those around her. And lastly, to be grateful. Stacy was grateful in every moment that we had the pleasure of having her with us. Grateful from, sitting on the deck and having a glass of rosé in the sunshine, and grateful for the rain and her new wellies she'd had to appreciate all of it.
Like, I described the sunshine as Stacy, and I never used to talk like that, but something really about her presence in my life, and I feel the presence in every one of your lives, it resonates. And by hearing everybody talk today, I think she really would have loved it. So thank you so much.
And when I die, let me fly through the air like the leaves when they're falling. Hold me, never let me go. Hold me like the leaves on the trees and the branches. And when I die, let me fly through the air like the leaves when they're falling. Hold me, never let me go. Hold me like the stars in the sky high above. And when I die, let me fall, let me fly through the air like the stars when they fall.